international anti-corruption conferences in Brazil and Thailand, FIDA international conventions, among others. She has also been involved in providing pro bono legal services, mediation and counseling, mentoring, as well as humanitarian work. She has also been honored with the title Ola Agburuama, a jewel of goodly heritage, by her local government community, Isiala Iswamau, Iswikwato local government area, and an award, Diamond Mother, by her local church, Methodist Church Nigeria, Iswikwato Diocese in Abia State. Her other activities include a national consultant, gender expert of the UNDP Sugar Corruption Risk Management Project, a delegate to the 2014 Nigerian National Conference, a conference of 490 delegates drawn from varied sectors and interests, organized by the federal government of Nigeria to discuss Nigeria's future. She's the chair, Family Law and Child Rights Committee of the Nigerian Bar Association section on legal practice. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Barrister Ezinwa Okorafor. A round of applause for her, please.
Thank you. All right, thanks. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I found it interesting listening to some of the feedback from you on your previous sessions. It's nice to know that you have been through sessions and there's stuff you have picked up that you can take away. But I'd like to ask a question. What has being proactive got to do with administration? How does it help? Anyone?
Foresee situation and quickly make decisions before it arrives. So it's nice to be proactive. It doesn't get you in trouble in administration when you are being proactive.
Great job, well done. I thought to mention, I didn't hear anybody say that, so I thought to mention that as well, because when, as an administrator, you are proactive, you are planning ahead, you're not waiting for things to happen, then you begin to react. If you wait for things to happen and you react, you lose some credibility, it will cost you a lot. But if you plan ahead, then when things are happening, you're adjusting, and then it's important that you're flexible as an administrator. But I'm not here to talk about administration. I'm here to talk about something else, decision-making for wealth creation. Now, this is under the Graduate Employability Skills program of your organization. All right, so how many of us are in full-time employment? Anyone? How many of us are doing things for ourselves to get by and just making some money? How many? How many have nothing? You're not doing anything, you're not earning any income, it's just one day in front of the other. Okay, so in discussing this, I think that an important place to start is to ask yourself, you start by knowing yourself. I know somebody talked about that in one of your previous presentations. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I meant to achieve? What do I want to do? What do I like to do? What difference do I want to make? What difference can I make? I think that these are important questions to ask ourselves as we begin to, step out in life as a young graduate. And I'll be honest with you, if you're a fresh graduate, if you know what you want and where you're going, you're one of a very few number of people. Most people have finished a degree. Some people have just gotten into university so that they can have a degree. And so you go into school and you read, perhaps law. You're not really sure you want to be a lawyer, but you just want a university degree. And so you're out. Or maybe you started out wanting to be a lawyer, but you've done 4 or 5 years in school, and you're not really sure that, law cuts it for you, given what you've seen. as you were qualifying. And so you're wondering, what next? And so I try to place that against a conversation around wealth creation. All right? And I think that as we go along, we'll align. So next slide, please. No, I'm here. I can help myself. Okay. So for the purposes of this presentation, we're going to talk about some definitions, and then we'll go into general thoughts on wealth creation. Why is wealth creation important? What are some laws of wealth creation? What are hindrances to wealth creation? What are the principles of wealth creation? Then I'll tell you about a financial health check. I'll tell you about types of investments, and then we'll bring this conversation to a conclusion. Now, decision making for wealth creation. So we'll just go through everything. What is a decision? You're choosing between options. What is decision making? The process of choosing among those options, okay? And the idea is that you make the right decision so that you get the desired outcome. Wealth. An accumulation of valuable economic resources that can be measured in either real goods or money value. But please, let's hold this because we'll come back to it. This is a definition of wealth from money terms. And wealth creation is that process of accumulating those assets, all right, over a long period, investing those assets so that you can fulfill your key needs. So I've said here that wealth creation leads to financial independence. I'm sure we all know what financial independence is. Good. So we must show an active interest in wealth creation. Nobody wants 10 years from now, or even 5 years from now, even 2 years from now, to go about depending on other people for your everyday needs. You want to be able to manage yourself, manage your resources, and you want to approach life from a perspective of wealth creation, a perspective of knowledge and confidence. Now, wealth creation is a process. So we talk about it. There's a Nigerian expression, you don't hammer. I want to hammer. Okay? Wealth creation is a process. If you're looking to hammer, then you may be creating wealth, but, and we'll come to that later, you may have created wealth, but, all right? How often can you hammer? Unlike a drawn-out process, one foot in front of the other. You do this today, you do that tomorrow, and on a daily basis, you can see, over time, you can see what progress you're making, okay? And it can be from the simplest activity and finances to more complex transactions. Then, except if you're the son of King Charles III and you have inherited wealth, wealth creation starts with a decision, not a wish. You get up and you say to yourself, I must take active steps to create wealth. It's a decision, it's not a wish. You can lie on your bed and say, I wish I had money. Okay? But until you actively decide, oh, I'm sorry, I actually thought you were filming that way. Okay, until you actively decide that, I want to do something about my financial status, you will remain where you are. And when you then decide, you begin to take active steps towards creating wealth. First thing you do is make a plan. Your plan can be short term, 1 to 3 years, medium term, 3 to 5 years, or long term, over 5 years, okay? And when you set those goals, you begin to work towards aligning your goals towards the time frame that you have chosen, all right? And you make your plans, and the activities you plan, everything must fall in line with the time frame that you have set. So, for example, if you're planning to build a house in 5 years, then it means that you must actively, first of all, you must think of the amount of money you need to build a house. Perhaps building a house is far for a young graduate. Let's talk about maybe buying a car, okay? You're looking to buy a car, and you're hoping that by December 2024, you will have a car. That begins to frame in your mind the kind of activities you'll undertake, the amount of money you'll put away, and the time frame for your investing. So you won't, for example, go and invest in a project that will pay you in 5 years when you have a 2-year horizon for the plan you have in mind. Why is it important to create wealth? The future, for those who don't quite know it. So, before now, organizations would manufacture a lot of products and hold them in their warehouses. All right? And the challenge with that is that you're tying down money. Yeah? So, as the world progressed, people thought about, why don't we time our manufacturing according to our needs? Okay? So that I manufacture just in time for those who need it. There's no point, for example, if I'm into manufacturing drugs, there's no point my manufacturing the excipients, the raw materials I need, for example, for paracetamol, and keeping them in my warehouse. I run the risk that they might even expire. Yeah? So if I time it to the needs of the people who are going to be making demands from me, first of all, I'm tying down less money, and I'm investing the money I'm not using in products. I'm not tied down in products. I'm investing it and making money off it, okay? If I'm borrowing from the bank, I have a shorter time frame that I'm borrowing from the bank with. Do you understand? You just time it perfectly so that by the time I'm done producing, Pfizer comes and I give to Pfizer what they want. The other company, Maersk or whatever company it is, Emzor comes and I give to Emzor just what they want, and I'm not tying down capital or even running the risk of losses from expired products. But guess what? COVID happened. The world went on lockdown. And it created a problem. First of all, nobody was moving anywhere. And so all around the world, there was chaos. Majority of drugs were coming out of China, India. There was no movement. So how could you get those drugs? And so there's a different thought process. People are thinking, you know what, perhaps we do local manufacturing. Perhaps we now no longer insist on just in time. Maybe we reframe what we're doing so that we can manage our resources better. So we're talking about volatility and uncertainty. Look at what's happening with the Naira and the dollar. Look at and it's just not in Nigeria. Even abroad, in England, for the first time, the dollar, first time in a long time, dollar and pound sterling are almost at par. The euro has, fallen even below the dollar. So these are things so just think if you had saved money in euro, you wake up one day and what you have is less. Your money has lost value. All right? And then, are we talking about volatility? With the Russia-Ukraine war, there is more to come. Europe is shivering and shaking because who knows what Putin will do next. So times are uncertain. And that is why it is important that you make deliberate efforts to think about creating wealth. All right? So that you deal with downturns in your fortunes or emergencies, whatever. Then also, as people grow older, you have worked for, and this is important for young people who are starting out in life. You don't want to finish. You start life as perhaps an analyst in a company, you grow to become the MD. You must retire one day. And the question is, when you retire, then what? If you haven't laid out a financial plan, you retire and you're in luck. So you must sustain the kind of life that you have had. Otherwise, and it's something that's happened to civil servants. Some people, in the previous days, where in Lagos, for example, and you play Abuja, so I'll give you an Abuja example. Let us say that as director in a ministry, you have official quarters in Maitama, and you didn't build your own house. Then one day you are retired, either compulsorily or you come to the end of your tenure, and you don't have a house anywhere. Then you go and start. You don't have a lot of money. They pay you your benefits, and sometimes government doesn't pay benefits on time because they haven't invested the money properly. So here you are waiting to be paid your benefits. All you have is a little money in your hands. You can't afford a house in Maitama. You can't afford a house in Wuse. You can't afford a house in Asokoro, certainly not. Lube, you can't afford. Then before you know it, the director that used to live in Maitama is going to one-man village to live. Even that alone is enough to kill a person. And you find that people quickly die off because they haven't planned for their retirement. So that's why wealth creation is important. And, it's good to start thinking about that even as a young person. To realize that you won't always be this young and agile, able to run about. Time will come when you can't. When you have also thought about wealth creation properly, there are needs that will certainly arise and you can meet them. What are some laws of wealth creation? Spend less than you earn. If you earn 100 naira and you spend 101 naira, you are in trouble. If you earn 100 naira and you spend 99 naira, then, at least you're on the right path. If you earn 100 and you spend 70 naira and you have 30 naira to invest, undertake savings with, invest in other activities, then you're on the right path. You must save at least 10% of your income. And when you have a surplus, you invest it wisely. Now you say to me, I'm starting out in life, I don't have a job, you're asking me to save. But if you, starting out in life, you don't have a job, know that once I have a job or once I earn income, I must put something aside. Then you're starting with the right mindset. Okay? And the other thing is savings. Some people, today you go and save 5,000 naira in the bank. Tomorrow you say, hey, my problems are so many, you go and take it back. So it's like planting a seed and you're constantly uprooting it. It can't grow. Okay? Then there's a talk about multiple streams of income. I'm sure we've heard about that before. Good, so I won't go into it. Then passive income. Do we know what passive income is? We know what passive income. Anyone here who doesn't know what passive income is? Anybody? So we all know what passive income is. And then this is futuristic. It says strives to be a landlord, not a tenant. And again, you can look at this from the perspective of housing and accommodation, but in general terms in life too. If you can find a situation where you are in control of the situation and you are not necessarily at the mercy of other people, all right, then you're well on the path to creating wealth. Then you must invest whatever money you have. And there are different ways to invest. When we say invest, you might be thinking, oh, I don't have money, it's 100,000 naira, da 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 da. Now, you might find that somebody gives you, you're a young person, somebody gives you 5,000 naira. I'm aware, there are several banks who do it, but I'm aware that for, I think, Stanbic IBTC Bank has these mutual funds that you can start with 5,000 naira. So you go and throw the 5,000 naira inside Stanbic IBTC and forget it there. Before you know it, it's building up. All right? Now, if you say to yourself, I'll hold on to that 5,000 naira, you pass. You pass Chicken Republic. It will call your name. You remember you're hungry. There's 5,000 naira. You have 5,000 naira in your bag. Chicken Republic calls your name, or maybe the smell of the chicken or the chips, and you think, I'm actually hungry and I have 5,000 that so and so gave me. Then you enter Chicken Republic. You come out, your 5,000 naira becomes 4,000 naira or less. And the truth is, could you have actually done without that meal? Perhaps, but the point is, because you're holding it there, the urge to spend it is available or exists, and you can meet that urge. If it's not available, then you don't get to meet it. But there are different things you can do. You can invest in somebody's business. Somebody is selling, and, I left secondary school in 1985. Good. So we're not young people at all right? Some of you were, no, none of you was born by that time. But the reason I say this is, as old as I am, my classmates and I are investing in yam cultivation. So there are people, and they ask us, all you need to do is contribute 5,000 naira. A number of us contribute 5,000 naira. We give to somebody who has a farm. He farms. And then when he makes his harvest, he gives us some yams. He sells some of the outputs, and then he gives us some. So we have a choice as between, whether we want to eat or we want to sell. And then he can reinvest. So the point of this conversation is that there are different ways. It doesn't, when you hear investment, it doesn't have to be 1 million or 100,000. Even the little you have, it is possible to find a way to turn it around. The people who are selling, who are investing in maize agriculture, melon seed agriculture, palm oil agriculture, palm oil farming, these are ways, okay? People will tell you, okay, let's contribute money. We buy pure water at the basest levels to let you know that it doesn't have to be a lot of money. But the point is, whatever you put aside and you begin to invest, keep it as investment money, forget that it exists, and just let it grow for you. All right? Then there's something. This is hindrances to wealth creation. There's a psychology that when there are options, when you're in a difficult situation and there are options, somehow the brain is wired to choose the easier option. That easier option may not necessarily be the best option. So I give you an example. Again, a Chicken Republic example. All right? You have 5,000 naira in your pocket. You're walking by. Suddenly you see, okay, let's leave Chicken Republic. Let's go to Domino's or Cold Stone. Suddenly you see Cold Stone. Somehow you remind yourself that, it's hot though. The day is hot. Gosh. My thirst, my throat, I'm parched. My little ice cream now. Man no die, man no rotten, abi? So you walk into Cold Stone. By the time you've done the signature combination, you come out and you have, out of 5,000, you have maybe 3,000 naira left. But could you have walked past Cold Stone? In fact, if you didn't have 5,000 naira in your pocket, you wouldn't even have seen, you wouldn't see Cold Stone. You won't see it. Good. So, the point is, we're wired to take the cheaper option or the easier option. So bearing that in mind, make it difficult for you. This is why people go and fix their money in fixed deposits, so that you don't just walk into the bank and say, I beg, give me my money back, I'm not doing it again. All right? You put it in structures that make it difficult for you to access, so that it stays there and it earns income for you. And then I talked about our histories, upbringing, and experiences playing a role and shaping our attitudes to money. So we all know Peter Obi Okute, right? When he was governor, when did they give shishi? Good. From beginning, even before he became governor, he was never one for giving shishi. Okay? And so, that's who he is. That's how he ran his business. He's one. He came out and he said to us, I have only 2 pairs of black shoes. That's who he is. He's a millionaire, but he's minimalist in approach. All right? So for that kind of person, wealth creation will not be difficult for him. But if it's somebody who comes from a background where you cannot wear 1 pair of shoes twice, that kind of approach will also to make wealth. All right? But we can teach ourselves to make rational decisions, which is why when you get that 5,000 naira, you say to yourself, you know what, straight to the bank so that I don't even know that it exists. Our mindset. You tell somebody, come and invest 5,000 naira. Hey, 5,000 naira. Somebody else will say, okay, 5,000 naira. Wow. I have 1,000 in my pocket. But okay, there's an ushering job I can do. When I do that ushering job, I'm going to come out with 10,000. And so I can take out 5,000 from it and invest. If in your mind you are unable to dream big, if in your mind you're unable to see beyond, do I have, beyond today? Do I have money in my pocket today? Can I eat today? Let tomorrow take care of itself. Then there is no way that you set yourself up for, making money. Then there are those who think, we call it delusions of grandeur. You think, I remember a young man, sorry? Delusions of grandeur. Okay? I'm a big man. I'm too big. A whole me. Somebody is offering me 20,000. Does he know who I am? Meanwhile, you do not have 2,000 in your pocket. Delusions, you're deluded. You have vain imaginings about who you are. You're a big man inside your head. Meanwhile, there's nothing in the pocket to justify that big manness. Okay? I'm too big for this, I'm too big for that. I remember a young man who got a job, and I told him, why don't you take it and enable me buy I wear 25,000 naira shirts. How much can he pay me? But the point is, you are nowhere. You do not have a job. For you to progress, every employer is asking for job experience. Why don't you enter somewhere, get job experience, and move on, knowing that your time there is time granted, and then those who are just, how will they concern me? But then how will an employer employ you because you know nothing? All right? And then there's a story I like to tell, and again, it's about fear and absence of courage and lack of proactivity. I'm sure we've seen this story on the internet. Two people who were employed in the company at the same time, all right? One was progressing, getting promoted, the other one wasn't. And then one day, and they were friends. One day, the one who wasn't getting promoted came to the boss to say, you know what? I want to resign. I'm not being well treated in this company. And the boss said, why? He said, well, I haven't been promoted. I came in the same time as John. John has received 3 promotions. I have not. And so the boss said to him, okay, please go down to Wuse Market. Let me know how much watermelons are selling for. So he goes to Wuse Market and he says, well, I've gone to Wuse Market. Only one person had watermelon. And he says it's 5,000 naira. And the price is cheaper. So if we're looking to buy, this is the margin we make. But if we're to go to Bush Market,